Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Did you know that Africans are heavily underrepresented in the global stem cell registries? If a black person gets blood cancer, their chances of finding a stem cell donor is only 20% compared to 80% for a Caucasian. And if a person has a multi-ethnic background, the chances are even worse because only approximately 3 to 4% of registered donors are multi-ethnic. The story of 42-year-old Nigerian-German mother Astrid seeking stem cell donors is making headlines globally, has brought this issue to the front burner. Joining us now to speak on how to improve the chances for all Africans to survive blood cancer is clinical oncologist Dr. Shadik Popola and cancer awareness advocate Ronsi Chidebe. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
Welcome to the morning show, Doctor. Ronsi, good to see you again. I see you've been doing a lot of traveling.
Thank you.
I've been seeing your posts on social media.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. But, let me ask you, what is this whole idea of stem cell donation? What is it all about? And why the need, really, for ethnic diversity in that regard? Because to many Nigerians, they'll be wondering, what is stem cell donation?
Thank
Doctor?
you for that question. Now, stem cells, first of all, let me just explain in very simple terms what stem cells are. These are the most immature cells in our bodies, and they have the potential to regenerate into any kind of cell in the body. So that's why they're called stem cells. So it's like a root cell that can regenerate and become mature into any kind of cell. So that is something that many times people are not even aware of what they are. And in terms of blood cancers and a lot of other diseases such as sickle cell anemia, they're the kind of cells that you can put in somebody who has a disease and they'll regenerate into the mature cells, such that if they have a disease, for instance, a leukemia, which is a blood cancer, you can wipe the person's bone marrow and replace with the healthy stem cell of another person who is matched to that patient, such that that healthy stem cell can then grow into other cells, other mature cells, which will then be able to help the person to heal and recover from the cancer.
Let's talk about the program on Saturday. I'll ask you, Ronsi. Yeah. What exactly is it that people are being asked to register for, and why is it important that Africans register?
Okay, so I think it's important to try to highlight the story of Astrid. Astrid is, she's actually a Nigerian German. Her dad is from Umuahia, and her dad is a surgeon, but he's late now. And this lady, the mom, is a German. Just, she's had like sort of a, sore throat, and then she went to the hospital and just to get herself checked. And then the doctor just said to her, why don't you just go and rest and take some medication? After 1 week, her situation became very worse. And that's when she realized she has to go back. And by the end of September, she was diagnosed of blood cancer. And now what would she do? Is, right now, the only option for her to really get cured is actually for her to have the stem cell transplant. And that's the issue, because for people of the same race, it's a lot easier to find your stem cell match. But for someone like her, not just even people of different race, African American, Africa, mixed race, is very, very difficult. So what we are doing now is we're doing campaign asking people, and not just people of mixed race, but everyone, to really get themselves registered with the Bone Marrow Registry of Nigeria. So that when and it's very simple. When people hear about, stem cell or donor drive, people get very, very scared, like it's like something like surgery. No, it's just swab, give you something like a cotton bud, and then ask you to just take a small portion of your saliva, and then you put it in a seal and then conduct some tests to know if your DNA is a match to the person's DNA. Then they could now do additional tests and then just do the transplant, as you said.
Doctor, let me ask you, you mean there's a bone marrow registry in Nigeria that nobody is aware of? Please, if you can give us some information about that. And then if you're asking people to come and donate their stem cells, they would like to know what are the risks involved. You are the doctor. Because I'm sure it's more than this saliva thing you are talking about.
Funny enough, it's not more than that.
Really?
When it comes to registering.
Okay.
So the registration is just basically to get you into the database and say, oh, we have 100,000 people and these are their different HLA types. So HLA basically means like a DNA, sort of a DNA, but the one that's related to the bone marrow. So it just lets you know, oh, we have so people and 10% have this, 20% have this, so that when you have anybody who has those diseases, you can see who is a match to that person. So yes, there is a bone marrow registry in Nigeria. The awareness, I think, has been quite low, and that needs to be improved. And it needs to get far and wide to all parts of Nigeria to be able to, so for people to be able to know that there is such a thing as a bone marrow registry. And it's just like putting your name down, really, to say, oh, yes, this is where I'm from, this is my age, this is my sex, and this is what I do. So it's just having a database. You're not donating anything. You're just going to, it's just a cotton swab from the cheek. And that's what's going to go into the test to let you know that, okay, this is what this person's DNA of the HLA type is.
Okay, after you go into the register.
Yes.
Then, you know, maybe an occasion arises for you to donate.
Exactly.
What are the risks involved? I think people would like to know that.
Yes.
Because it sounds like donating kidney, like donating...
Oh, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. So the things technology has gone quite far and wide when it comes to donating stem cells. In the past, they'll take some sample from inside the bone itself, but that is no longer done. So we've come to a point whereby you can actually just take it like taking blood samples. So it's basically going to be taken from the blood. So it's like when you want to donate blood, that's the process. Because certain drugs are given that helps to mobilize those very immature cells to the periphery or to the surface, and then you can take it from the blood through a special machine. So you're just sitting down, connected to the machine via your normal veins, and the blood is taken out. And that is taken to the to the lab, and you actually now test to see whether you have enough of those immature cells in that sample. So it has nothing to do with surgery. It's just a procedure that you sit down by the machine, just like donating blood, really. So if you're a match for anybody, then you'll be called. And so that's the whole essence. It's giving back, really, to the society, giving hope to somebody else. And it could be anybody at any point in time.
And saving a life.
Saving a life, very key,
it's
giving
important.
hope. Oh, yes.
So when and where is this registration taking place?
So that's tomorrow morning?
Yes, tomorrow morning.
At Idejo Street. 11 a.m.
Exactly.
Where?
At GIS office is 592 Idejo Street, Victoria Island. Yeah. And also people can also just, to find out more details about the program, just visit help-astrid.com. You know, you have all the information because this has really become a global campaign. Because they've done this donor drive in Enugu. We did it in Enugu. We did it in Abuja. It has also been done in Germany, also in London. So it's really a very pathetic story, but it's very, very important to amplify it because to get a match for her is just more like 1 to 1,000 people, which is very tough.
More like even 1 to 100,000, really.
1 to 100,000, exactly. You know.
Dr. C, okay, in case you are a match, you know, for somebody's HLA and you want to donate, is the process, is it painful? Because you have described it, the person will be attached to a machine, they will take blood. Is it painful? I think, you know, I would like to know.
so it's just like saying, it's just like asking. You see, so everybody has different pain thresholds. There's some people that come to the hospitals and just to take a blood sample, they're shaking, and it takes 30 minutes to console and try to calm the person down. But really, when it comes to, it's like injecting someone with a needle. It's not anything more than that, really. So apart from the pain of inserting the needle, the process that follows that is not painful.
What about our viewers who are not based in Nigeria but would be willing to register? What should they do?
So, and that's why it's important to visit the website, because through the website, people can actually get different points where they can really sign up and get their own, get their own swab tests and then send it up. You can even do it yourself and mail it from any part of the world. Just once you're able to get the swab kit, just from your inside of your cheek, just for 10 seconds, you do this 111 for 10 seconds, you do again, you bring the two out. Just seal it and then mail it to either DKMS in Germany, and then it could just be tested, and then they will reach back to you.
I want to know about cord blood banking, which is common in other countries. Why don't we do enough of that in Africa, especially when we have this shortage of African donors?
Good question. It's something that, like I said, a lot of awareness needs to now start coming up about these things. So umbilical cord donation or getting the cord blood is something that you do for a child who's just born. And the cord blood is such that you have the most immature cells there. And it's good in cases where you now have children with leukemias. In this case, you can then wipe up their marrow and give those cord bloods, from the PMD donors, the donors that you have saved. Now, this currently doesn't go on, but it's something that we're trying to raise awareness on. The platform that I created, Next Hematology, is starting to bring that awareness up. So not just for umbilical blood, also for increasing the people on this registry and letting people just even know that, look, there is a possibility and it can happen to anybody. So it's important for people to just know. So, but when there is a platform for people to actually store their cord blood and that awareness is created, I think a lot of people, Nigerians generally, actually like to help. They will be willing to say, oh, okay. And it can be your own child. It can be that very child who eventually uses it.
Exactly. Yes. Or their parent or their sibling.
Yes, exactly. Who eventually uses the blood.
This event you have in Lagos tomorrow,
yes.
Is there any plan to conduct a similar thing across Nigeria in other parts of the country? Or this is just a Lagos event?
So we've done already in Enugu.
Oh, okay.
We did it in Enugu last week. We also did in Abuja. And people turned up, interestingly, and they all got their own swab. Interestingly, also people with people of not mixed race also turned up, which is very, very important. At least they get themselves in the registry. And you can never say, maybe your grandmom or someone somewhere had a mixed race somewhere you're not aware of. So anyone can really be a lifesaver, or can be a hero or heroine, in this case.
You run an NGO.
Exactly.
On oncology.
Yes.
You are a doctor, right?
Yes.
But what's the level of collaboration with the registry itself, the Bone Marrow Registry of Nigeria?
I think it's a very important question you've asked because, seriously, the Bone Marrow Registration of Nigeria really needs some form of support, not just support in the area of trying to create awareness for it, but also in terms of capacity. Because if we have this registry that is really functional, this wouldn't be happening, But it's really not doing enough as she's supposed to do. Actually, the registry is far away in Enugu. It's in University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital in Enugu. That's where the registry is. So, and its database is really, really low. So there is a need for the government to support that registry, even people to support them to see how they can really scale this up. And because cancer is increasing in the country. You remember, WHO published last year that about 115 people were diagnosed of cancer last year. And out of that 115 people, about 78,000 of them died. And this is a mix between liquid cancers, like the blood cancers we're talking about, and other form of cancer. So it's very, very important to get this registry to work, to save lives, not just to save the life of F-Street, but there are also thousands of F-Streets, in Lagos, in Abuja, and across Maiduguri and everywhere. But, because these things are not working, they will only be using other palliative method and all the rest of it. I was just talking with Doc, and she was telling me that there's really no place you can do transplant, stem cell transplant in Nigeria. So you can see how tough this is. So the government needs to really wake up to really invest in the healthcare of Nigerians, most importantly.
Doctor, yes. I like that point you made about stem cell, transplant.
Yeah.
There will be many Nigerians probably listening to us or
yes.
other Africans who are interested, who have, the need. But they would like to know how costly is stem cell transplant in terms of cost, funds.
So currently now in the country, there's no one center that actually carries out stem cell transplants from end to end. I know certain centers are coming up, and in the coming year or so, one will see centers come up, both publicly and privately. So many people many times have to go to Asia or South Africa or Europe, or the USA. And it's costs about an average of 12 million naira to carry out the stem cell transplant. And that is also considering the fact that you will still have post-transplant care, you know, that would have to be done. But it costs an average of that outside the country. By the time you get to do those things in the country, it brings down the costs a lot, because you've removed the fact that you have to, somebody else has to go with you. You have to talk about accommodation, travel costs, and of course the cost you're going to pay over there. So it's going to reduce the costs by about 50% even. So there's a lot that needs to be done to bring this down here. So by both private and the government. But do we have the experts here who can do it? Oh yeah. So for instance, I'm a clinical hematologist, and that is my specialty. And I'm not the only one, you know, there are quite a number of us all over the country. But it's something, like I said, we need to come together and push this. So there are experts, and it's not just about experts in Nigeria. We go for trainings abroad. We can collaborate with so many people all over the world who will be happy to come down, to even continue to train others, to make sure that, you know, it's something that is viable and the results are reproducible and compared to standard practices all over the world. So it's doable. It's very doable. It's just the will. And once there's a will, there'll be a way.
Let's quickly talk about age and weight restrictions for those who are interested in registering. What are those? Yes,
you know, it's actually for people who are between the age of 18 to 50. Yeah, and then for health status, you'll have to just ask you a few questions to really know about your health status. You know, have you had any disease before? Have you had malaria and all the rest? Those data, those information are just important for them to keep. Then we'll just check your weight, and then check your height. That's to know your BMI, and then also keep that. Then before you do the swab test, after that, that's all. It takes less than 10 minutes, actually, to get yourself registered in the registry.
Well, for the purpose of emphasis and by way of information, before we bring this conversation to a close, maybe, Ronsi, you state again the address that people should go to tomorrow. Yes. Those who want to help our street and also get onto the register. Okay, please, we're all calling you all Nigerians, please, listening to us. Please, it's happening at GIZ office. GIZ office is in 592 Idoja Street. Idoja Street. Idoja Street in Victoria Island. Please come tomorrow. It starts around 11, and we're going to run from 11 till about 5 p.m. If you don't get the address, please just check Help Ask Street on all social media. Help Ask Street on all social media, and you'll get all the details that you need. Thank you so much. And thanks to Arise TV for all your support, bringing this kind of silent information to the front. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. That'll be 10 minutes well spent for whoever wants to help out. Thank you so much. It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ofeni join us to review top stories in today's newspapers. Stay with us.